There's something very special going on here in Medicine Hat. It becomes perhaps unique to each person what that is, a little bit difficult to identify it, but I think for most of us that live in this community, we are pretty satisfied with our way of life here, and we've chosen to live in Medicine Hat for a variety of reasons. I've lived here all my life. I think it's a great place. I know and I recognize that there are issues. It could be better. It's not for everyone, but it is for me, and it has been all my life. I feel very passionately about Medicine Hat, and I want to see that our way of life here is continued, and I want to make a contribution back to my community, be part of the decision-making process that will ensure that the quality of life we've all come to enjoy and expect here is carried on for generations to come. I'm running on my enthusiasm, my energy, and my experience. I think I bring intelligence and integrity to the city's decision-making process, but these are not qualifications which are unique to me. They're demonstrated by a number of people. However, I think what I do bring is my experience and training as a lawyer. Now, I can hear the groans and the lawyer's jokes already, but the fact is that when you've got some tough decisions, when your back is against the wall, who are you going to call? For many people, they're going to call their lawyer, and they're going to get trustworthy advice. They're going to get rational, analytical thinking, and I believe that my training and experience as a lawyer is a quality that I uniquely bring to the table. I don't think we want a council of all lawyers any more than we want a council of all teachers or all businessmen or all labor union executives. I think we need a good mix. And I think that by bringing my qualifications and experience as a lawyer to the table, I can do a good job for the City of Medicine Hat. There are many important issues going on in this election. I think it's a little artificial to ask me to name just one, but I guess that's the point of a short interview. I'm going to give you my sort of tag team approach. I think there are two significant, somewhat related issues that kind of vie for first place in my opinion. The first is flood mitigation. We've just come through quite a season here in Medicine Hat. I think people, if they didn't understand before, they do understand now that these 1 in 100 year flood events are happening a little bit more often than once every 100 years. And we've got some good advice on what we need to do to prepare ourselves for these events, and if I'm elected, I will certainly be one of my priorities to get those mitigation efforts accomplished within the next 2 years. I think secondly, we need to make Medicine Hat more friendly to development and to business. I've heard a lot of concern about the business environment in Medicine Hat. I don't think City Council exists simply as an economic development office, but it is part of what we're responsible for. And so I think if that isn't a tied issue for first place, it's right up there in the top two. I really enjoyed this question. I was glad that you asked it because it allows me and the other candidates an opportunity to reveal a little bit about ourselves personally rather than just professionally and discussing the issues. I grew up here in Medicine Hat, born and raised here, and I have some very fond memories from my childhood. I would say from the age of about 8 to 12 growing up in Medicine Hat. Those were the good old days, for sure. We walked to school, we rode our bicycles to school and to the swimming pool and the skating rink, and all over town for that matter. We also, for me particularly, I had a number of cousins growing up in Medicine Hat, and we used to have a little group we called the Saturday Cousins, and our favorite thing to do was to go down to Kincooley, which in those days was just beginning to be developed. They had the big circle in the easternmost portion of it, but the rest of it was pretty much wild although they were starting to map out where the roads would go and that sort of thing. And we mapped out King Cooley. We would have given it to the Kinsman Club if they had asked us, because we had it all mapped out and we had a name for everything down there, and we named them for ourselves, of course, because we were the great explorers in King Cooley. And I was able to name, there's a kind of backwater that's in behind the ball diamond there, the one that's kind of isolated. I'm not remembering the name of it now, but it's got the big fence around it and it's well set into the trees and there's water around it. And I called that Billy's Billabong. But that's one of my favorite memories from my youth.